Solace on Peachtree incident. Did both officers return fire?
Based on what we have know now, both officers did return fire.
And did the officer who was wounded sustain multiple wounds?
Yes, he was struck multiple times.
He was hit in the face, correct? And then was he also hit in the torso, and did his vest protect him?
From my understanding, he was shot in the upper body. I don't recall if he was hit. Yes, in the shoulder. So,
You want to take that again?
yeah, my understanding, he was shot in the shoulder, and I don't think that the vest was bothered by it at all.
Did he make it part of the way out of that building under his own power, the officer who was shot?
The officer who was shot was escorted out of the building by other responding Atlanta police officers.
Did he make it to them on his own?
They were able to get him out of the elevator and escort him out of the building.
Did the officers, and you may have seen, we obtained cell phone video of officers carrying him out. The officers who carried their colleague out, what can you tell us about the courage they showed?
Absolutely, Marcus. You've heard me state in previous interviews is that I thought this was one of the most heroic events that I've seen in the police department, and I've seen many. What these officers clearly did not have an understanding of what all the threats were, but they recognized that they needed to assist their police officer, their fellow police officer who had come under fire and who was shot. And the remaining officers continue to engage and secure that building and look for additional threats. So, you know, the actions of the men and women of the Atlanta Police Department, clearly not to my surprise at all, was stellar. They fell to their training and to what they've been trained to do, and they were able to respond and take care of that situation.
Chief Bryant, could you explain who this officer is, his name, his history with the department?
Yes, his name is Kong Tai. Kong Tai was the officer that was shot. He's been on the department for 2 years. He's Asian American Pacific Islander. And on yesterday, as my most recent update, he's in better spirits even today.
Can you spell his name for us?
We'll release his name and his photo. We'll release it. We'll send it to you.
Chief, do you have any knowledge? Does he have a military history as well?
I'm not familiar with any military background.
Can you talk about the initial call? I listened to the scanner traffic, at least what was put out there publicly for that original shooting, and it sounds like all officers might have known was 2 shots fired, a victim down, 8th floor. Did they have any other knowledge of what they were possibly going into?
No, the officers, actually, clearly what you heard on the scan is what the officers had, an incident that evolved inside the building. As they came upon the building, person did acknowledge that there was a shooting up on the 8th floor. They responded, put a plan together as they were going up into the elevator, and developed that plan. It was just a tragic situation that our officer was shot because the door, as soon as the door opened, this individual was firing upon police officers.
And I heard
What's your understanding of what happened inside the apartment with the initial victim who's in the hospital? What was that dispute about with Mr. Hamad?
So that part is still a part of the investigation. We can't go into that, but we do know that that individual was shot on the initial call.
Well, you know if he rented the apartment, the initial victim?
We're still looking through that, trying to identify where each individual, why they were in that building and how they came about being into it.
Did live in apartment 820?
Again, Mark, we'll have to let that come out in the investigation itself.
I heard the code that your officer put out after the shot, the number that he put out, it says any officer on duty or off duty, it's your duty to respond. Can you just talk about how, when that code goes out, how seriously your officers take that?
Absolutely. When that level of priority call goes out, it goes out citywide, not just to Atlanta police officers, but it goes out to every law enforcement agency that is monitoring their radios, give the location, and we are responding. And clearly, that's what you saw on yesterday. I was, surprised. Well, scratch that, because I wasn't surprised to see the number of partnerships that were responded to the location. It was too many agencies to acknowledge, but they all were very supportive in responding to the scene.
And
Did
you said,
APD
last
SWAT
question.
and Apex go floor by floor in the Solace on Peachtree apartments to make sure the situation was clear?
Absolutely. For us to deal with a situation of that magnitude, one of the things we have to do is secure that entire building, go floor by floor to make sure that there's no additional threats inside that building.
Chief, last question here.
Now, I know you said only the minor drug charge for Humbles. Obviously, in a case like this, you guys probably search other jurisdictions. Have you turned up anything for him in any other jurisdiction?
Not yet. Again, this part will be part of our investigation as well as the part of the Georgia Bureau of Investigations investigation to see how deep his criminal history may go.
Did the weapon find a
Thank you,
rifle
Chief.
or a handgun?
I'm sorry?
Detail.
The weapon, did he find?
Yeah, that we'll have to let that come out into the investigation.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
everybody.